Hello, and welcome back to Lately Fashionable. I am supposed to be working on this hat, and I got distracted, and now I want to work on this hat. But this hat is going to be in a completely separate video, so I'm just going to start filming this video while I'm in the middle of working on the previous hat video, because I have no chill. So you may remember this hat from my first hat refashion video, the one I made over the summer, where I did 3 summer hats. And now I'm going to work on some winter hats. I have this lovely wool felt one. Yes, it is 100% wool. I got it at a thrift store for $4. And I really like the shape of it. I think that's really nice, but I'm not keen on the decorations, so I'm going to try something else, and I already know what I'm going to do, which is why I'm jumping into this one in the middle of my making hats from scratch video, which I'm sure has been out for months already by the time I get this one done. I just got really excited and wanted to work on this one right now. So off come the embellishments, starting with these little tulle tuffets. Not a fan of those. Also not keen on this ribbon, at least not for this hat. Oh, and it's glued on. Lovely. I think it could look nice on something else. Don't like this style of ribbon on this particular hat. Don't worry, we're going to cover that up. Sewed and glued. Okay. Don't need that. Might have some issues back here. Now, if you saw my refashioning summer hats video, you may remember from the montage of me trying different trim options on Mimi before I eventually settled on the flowers with the blue ribbon. I opened up my trusty box of blanked binding, and I played around with this bright coral pink ribbon. And I liked what I came up with, but not for that hat. And I was just thinking about how nice that would look on a different hat, and I'm going to try it on this one and see what I like. Okay, it's been a month since I filmed working on that hat. I did finish it, and I never showed you the finished product. Here it is. Let me model it real quick. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it's very cute, and I have nothing to wear it with. At least, not yet. I have plans for a pink silk blouse that is a similar color, close enough to the decoration of this hat. Of course, I haven't actually started making that blouse yet, but I do have a plan for it. I have a pattern. I have a plan. So whenever I do finish that, I will definitely put this on and get some good footage of it. In the meantime, let's move on to the next hat. Put Stella back in place. Good girl. The next one I want to do is this lovely purple felt number. I've had this one for so many years. I got it in college, and when I bought it, it had some kind of ribbon band around that has long since disappeared because I took that off years ago in preparation for fashioning it into something new, which I never got around to doing. It also had the brim turned back and I think a big gaudy flower right here. And I wasn't into that look. So clearly I took off all of the embellishments, left a hole there. And I also undid the stitching on the brim. I think there must have been wire along the edge, and I probably took it out to use in another hat. Is that what happened? I don't know. Anyway, it's gone now. But I think I'm not planning on keeping the shape of the brim. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with it until I was rewatching season 1 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel the other day, and this hat that Imogene wears in episode 3 just reached deep inside me and grabbed hold and has not let go. So I think I can make that shape with this hat. It has that very slight upturned brim all the way around that then turns into a little spiral decoration on the back. So I think if I do this correctly and I cut like a 5/8 inch brim all the way around, which will conveniently take care of that little hole because it will be right at the edge there. And then when it gets to the back, spiral out and continue cutting in that curve, but just all the way around. That should give me the little swoop that I can sort of manipulate to where I want it to be. I'm going to need to cut from the outside in one continuous spiral in order to do this right. I'm nervous because I can only cut it once. But I have a plan and I think it's going to work. Okay, here goes nothing. So I'm going to draw on the spiral before I cut and go from there. Using Taylor's chalk. Okay. This is going to be the back. There's my spiral. Obviously, I do not need the whole brim to get the little loop that I plan to put at the back of the hat. But like I said, I only have one chance to cut this correctly, and I am going to want the edges of the brim to be as smooth as possible. So I think this big spiral will give me lots of practice in cutting the felt smoothly, so that hopefully by the time I get to the inner spiral, I will be really good at it and it will look perfect. That's the hope. Here we go. Have I mentioned that I'm nervous? It cuts really easily. It's actually really smooth so far. I think this might work. What do you mean I wasn't recording the whole time? What do you mean? Okay. Well, I steamed it using my trusty Rowenta steamer, not sponsored. I steamed it 3 waves at a time and then very carefully pinned down to get as flat as possible along the edge. And then this part. Glue, maybe? No, that's way too risky. I think I'm gonna have to sew it. Yeah, I think that will be best. Okay, so it's all steamed and pinned, and I think I'm just gonna leave it to dry. Hope my pins don't all rust. So that's it for now. In the meantime, I'm going to work on removing the trim from this hat because I want to replace it. I really like the shape of this hat, you may recall from my previous hat refashioning video, but I don't like the trim. I think it's too metallic and makes it look very cheap. So I'm going to replace it with something not metallic. But first I have to remove it, so I'll see you when it's off. Okay, I'm back. That was really quick actually. I don't know why I thought it was going to take a long time, but this was just glued on quite heavily, as you can probably tell. But once I got a corner lifted up, I was able to just rip it off, which was very satisfying. I did have to rip out some of the stitching that was holding this in place because it was covering where the braid was glued down. And I also removed the little bit of braid that was around there and this little leaf. So now I need to replace it because it's naked. We can't have that. I've got a box of braid. I actually keep all of my trim in these containers. I've got 2 different sizes, and this has been hugely helpful. I bought a bunch of them way back in the day when Joann's was having a sale. But anyway, we have a cream hat. We're going to cover it with cream trim. I already like that so much better. But we've got a few options. Not enough of this one. There's enough of this for sure. Not enough of that either, but that's really fun. I do have this one if I want to keep the metallic theme. It's a lot less gaudy than the other one. But I wonder if the ground is maybe a little too white. I don't know. Okay, maybe those are all of my options. I think this is the #1 contender. That'll keep a really classic monochromatic look. Just a bit of interest. Let's see what this would look like on the other side. Okay, so option A. Option B. Yep, I like option A. That's the one. If I could do this around here. No. Maybe this one? No, that's too different, isn't it? Yeah, I don't like that. Have to figure something out. Now, I could glue it on, like the original, or I could sew it, which I think would be easier for me. I feel like I would have more control over the process if I sewed it. This little bump back here has been giving me trouble. I may have to stitch that to the inside. Okay. So definitely more than enough to make it all the way around. Yeah, I think I'm gonna sew it. Did I mention I got this hat for $8.98 at a thrift store? Because I did. Okay, it has been several hours, and I think my purple hat is plenty dry, and I'm going to take the pins out. And I'm hitting record this time. All done! Oh, I love it. Yes. It worked! I am so pleased with this. I was very nervous about it working at all, and it worked so well! Oh, I love it! It's adorable! And now I have another purple hat. And this one goes pretty well with my new purple dress that I just finished. I think it also goes pretty well with this one. But my other purple hat, the big cartwheel hat, doesn't really go with this dress. It's just slightly the wrong purple. And this one goes much better. It's in the same color family, I think. Now the edge is rather ripply from where it was pinned and steamed and pinned. So I'm going to try to smooth that out, but tomorrow, because it's nearly midnight and I'm very tired. But I did all of the sewing. I stitched the spiral by hand, And I think I did a really good job. It's pretty invisible. And I think that was definitely the right move. If I had tried to glue it, I know I just would have ended up with glue everywhere and it would have looked awful. Speaking of glue, I did not remove the old glue from where there was a ribbon, you know, band on there. And I'm just trusting that the little flipped up brim is going to cover it, which for the most part it does. So happy with this one. No idea what to name her. I'll have to brainstorm. But yeah, I think I'll wear her tomorrow. Okay, it's the next morning and I'm going to see if I can refine the edges of this hat. And I have a popcorn bucket. I should plug in my steamer. Okay, that worked so much better than I expected. This is exactly the result I was hoping for. I wanted the brim to stand up away from the crown, but also away from the face. So all that initial shaping I did with the pins was really useful because it took out some of the excess volume of the brim and brought it closer to where I wanted it to be. And now it's so much smoother. And like if you look closely, you can still see the glue marks from how the hat originally was decorated. But I'm not gonna worry about that. I think, because when I'm wearing it, you'll see it head on and you'll see the back, and I think this is cool enough to distract from any of the imperfections, and I don't want to damage the hat by trying to remove the glue. So I'm very pleased with this. And now I can complete my outfit for the day. Oh, I love it so much. It's perfect. Yes. I feel like this has opened up a whole world of possibilities, and I am so excited to get my hands on more felt hats. I already have several wool felt hats that I can start with. I had bought several over the years at thrift stores, basically to use as hat blanks, like I did with this one. And I'm going to go look for some inspiration and figure out how I want to style the next one. Ta-da! I finished it. I love it. I did not film any of the sewing on this hat, and I apologize for that, but sometimes I need a project that I am not working on. I need to be able to just relax and focus on the work and not have to worry about how it looks on camera. And this was one of those times. I think the tone on tone is a much better choice for the trim, and I'm very happy with how it came out. Now, this trim as is was too thick and wide to go around this little part, so I took off just the loops, which as soon as I pulled on the thread that was holding them, it's a chain stitch and it just pulled completely apart. and then it was just the cord in loops, but I had to very carefully stitch every single loop in place or it wouldn't stay. Okay, you can focus on me now. So as you can imagine, that was a very finicky process, and I was very glad I wasn't filming because it was already difficult without having to worry about being in frame, being in focus, looking aesthetic. But yes, very happy with this hat. I think it's fun. It's gonna keep my head warm. It's exactly what I wanted. Nice and neutral and versatile, but definitely unique and I think a conversation piece, so that's gonna be fun. And I have named her Barbara. Did I mention naming this hat, by the way? Her name is Dorothy. I was considering both Barbara and Dorothy as names for this hat, but I felt that Dorothy suited her better. And because they're the same color, not at all similar styles, but, you know, the same cream wool material, I guess they feel like sisters to me. So the name that wasn't quite right for Dorothy, I think fits. So Barbara. Which reminds me, I still need to name that other hat. Let's do an Instagram poll. I am so very pleased with all three of these hats, and I'm really going to enjoy wearing them all winter long. I did take a poll on Instagram for naming this hat, and Iris was the clear winner, so her name is now Iris. I think it suits her. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give me a like, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe. I have more hat shenanigans planned, if you can believe it. So I will see you in the next one. Bye! I got it at a thrift... And I have named her Barbara. And I have named her Barbara. Barbara. Why is that so hard to say?